This is the full weekly reading for thinkers, feelers, doers, and builders. Hi, I'm Lori. I'm a tarot reader and spiritual counselor, and each week I share intuitive messages to help you reconnect with your inner guidance. In my work with clients, I've noticed that people tend to move through life in 4 different ways: as thinkers, feelers, doers, and builders. And if you'd like to discover which one of these types you lean more towards, there is a free link to the quiz in the description below. Each of these ways of moving through life connects with one of the suits in the tarot as well. So the thinkers connect with the swords, the feelers connect with the cups, the doers connect with the wands, and the builders connect with the pentacles. And we do naturally lean towards one. However, we have all 4 within us. And there are some weeks we might be more in the thinker way of doing things. Sometimes we might be more in the feeler, sometimes in the doer, and sometimes in the builder. Choose the one that feels most organic to you. And this week's theme is actually about commitment. Allowing yourself to commit, or what have you been blocking commitment to? So let's take a look at your cards for the week. We're going to begin with the thinkers, people who tend to process life through their minds. So let's take a look at the theme of commitment for my thinkers. All right. Well, first of all, it's saying you're overthinking it. You're just sitting there and you're not making a decision. And the more that you think about it, the more frustrating you're becoming. And it's so interesting because it shows that your inner wisdom is very on point. But what you're doing is your thoughts are getting in the way. Everything's unfolding the way that it needs to in your life. But part of this is about you learning how to share what you would like and what you don't like. And there's a fear there. It's like you're overthinking it, but if you don't state what you would like in the relationship, you're only going to end up resenting the relationship later, because without stating your preferences, your likes and dislikes, and being able to talk about that with your partner, what's going to end up happening is, if you just go along, you're going to end up quietly resenting it. However, if you have a conversation as it's happening, as things are coming up for you, what's going to happen is it has the possibility of creating more connection and more of a sense of commitment. And part of you is in this state of, nope, I'm just gonna back off. I'm just not gonna say anything. It's better off that way. And if what you're looking for is a loving relationship, even though these anxieties are coming up, this is actually a silver lining, because the only thing standing in your way is being able to open your mouth and have a conversation about what is important to you, because that is what's going to bring you back to a feeling of more lightness or a sense of having fun. Now, at first, the other person may not be too happy to hear about your likes and dislikes because you're stating them for the first time. Don't let that stop you. And in some cases, that won't even happen, because here's the thing: the relationship you're meant to be in, conversation will be there. You'll be allowed to state what you like and what you don't like. And if this relationship doesn't allow for that, you've got to take a look at why you're choosing to stay with it. No judgment here. It's just, why are you choosing to stay in a relationship where you're not allowed to share your likes and dislikes? All right. I am going to now look at my weekly reading for the feelers, people who tend to move through life through their hearts. So let's take a look at commitment for this group. You know, it does feel like you're entering into a commitment this year. And it's either a commitment to a job or a commitment to a relationship. But what I'm feeling it lean more towards is committing yourself to a job or something that you feel like you really, really are excited to start and to build something with. There may even be some of you out there that are committing to becoming a mother for the very first time or a parent. And what's coming up for you is that fear of being trapped or not wanting to repeat the same emotional lessons that you were treated to growing up. But you're headed in the right direction. Just allow yourself to believe in the possibility of commitment. You're going to want to go into comparison. But here's the thing, you're only comparing the past. And you have no idea what's in the present and what's really unfolding if you keep looking at the past and expecting it to reappear, because guess what's going to happen? It will reappear if that's what you're focused on. My sense is you have all of the support behind you to move forward. You've put a lot of work out there. You've moved toward this. Now you just get to allow yourself to receive. But don't be like a helicopter mom, taking care of every single micro detail or micromanaging it. The most loving thing you can do right now is take a look at how you may be second guessing yourself and going into the shoulda, woulda, coulda. In the present moment, there is no shoulda, woulda, coulda. In the present moment, there's only moving with the flow. I do feel as though even if you hesitated and whatever this was taken off the table, it's coming back around. You're going to have a second chance. And it is saying, just be honest and allow yourself to say what needs to be said, but cut yourself free from your fears of the past repeating itself, because it doesn't have to. You've learned a lot and you can move forward with what you've learned. Next, I am going to do the reading for the doers, people who tend to move through life through action and momentum. So let's see what this week's reading has to say to my doers about commitment. It's showing that there's more of a sense of peace about commitment coming in the next 5 or 6 weeks, like next month and a half. One of the things it's showing is that for you, it's important to take care of the little details, the little things. Make sure to compliment the little things. Be grateful for the little things. Give people credit for the little things. Give credit to yourself for the little things. Attention to detail right now matters to somebody that you're involved with. And that's what's going to help with the growth. So part of this is practicing patience. And because the other person moves a little slower than you, they want to build something. So they kind of hold back until they know that something bigger is going to be built. And for you, it's showing that you feel better when you know that there's still a little wiggle room and you still have a little freedom. Yes, in the past, You have felt better about not having a commitment. There's been more of a sense of freedom around you. However, you've been unfulfilled. And it does show that, in your heart, commitment's important to you, but your head talks you out of it and makes you get anxious about it because you're not quite sure what it's going to require on an emotional level. You're learning more, with relationship, commitment requires emotional maturity. And because you've been moving and doing, you haven't given that time to settle, but it can. And it will bring you and somebody else back together. It's okay to stand your ground and to ask for space when you need it. However, when two people are in a relationship together, it's about also respecting them and letting them know when you will come back around. So it's okay to ask to step away, but also let them know when you're going to be available again. I need a day, or I'll call you later in the week, or can we talk about this tomorrow? Things like that. That goes a long way with your partner. And it helps build the commitment because it builds their trust in knowing that you will come back around and you will talk about it. And finally, the message I'm going to share now is for the builders, people who tend to move through life through structure and stability. They like to create something that's going to last for a long time. So commitment is right in their ballpark. All right. Well, it's funny because my builders this week are feeling a little stuck or a little stagnant. They're waiting for someone to make their mind up. You're waiting for someone you're involved with someone who has to look at things from every particular angle. They're more of a thinker. They're in their minds. Your partner is. And so you're just going to have to practice your patience. It doesn't mean that you're stuck. It just means that they're working through something on a mental level before they can promise you the commitment that you want and before they can commit to something for you. What I'm leaning towards with this reading is a family member who you're waiting to hear from and waiting for them to commit to something or make a promise or stand by something that they've said that they will do. And you're just going to have to allow it to unfold. It's okay to set some parameters. An opportunity will present itself to help them as far as come up with an action plan, but wait until you're asked. Don't offer it before then. You will get hit with resistance if you do. There is contentment as a result because you've chosen not to jump in and say something right away, not to question their level of commitment. You're giving them the space to figure it out themselves. Put your attention somewhere else while you're waiting for this to play out. Ask questions or get curious or focus on their strengths with them. Not on what they're not doing, but focus with them on their strengths. That's what's going to be the most nurturing thing that you can choose to do. Because you trying to help them and give them your advice is only going to throw them more into their heads and make them start that thought process cycle all over again. So you want to give them space this week, because if you do, within the next month, they'll come back around and they'll make you a promise. And this time it feels like they will stick to it, but they have to come to it on their own, not to make you happy. So if something in this reading opened up a question in you and you'd like to explore it more personally, I do one-on-one readings and spiritual counseling sessions. and the link to book a session with me is in the description below. I'd love to hear in the comments what commitment means to you. What does commitment mean to you? And if you would like to go deeper with your specific pathway, whether you're a thinker, a feeler, a doer, or a builder, I have linked the playlist below. And Monday through Thursday, each of the 4 types gets their own reading. So subscribe and you won't miss the next messages. Tomorrow I'll be talking about the thinker, and I'll see you in the next reading. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and share.